There are passenger jets sitting in the California desert right now that have spent more years parked than they ever spent flying. Some of them cost over $200 million when they were new. Some are barely 6 years old. They are not broken. They are not retired. They are not waiting for repairs. They are sitting in formation in the sun, with their windows covered and their engines sealed, because somewhere on a balance sheet, that is the most profitable thing they can do. This is the story of the strangest real estate market in aviation. A market where billion-dollar machines pay rent like cars in a long-term parking lot, where the desert has quietly become one of the most important financial instruments in the airline industry, and where in the last 2 years, something has happened that is rewriting what a commercial aircraft actually is. Let's start with the obvious question: why the desert? The answer is half engineering, half accounting, and the two are inseparable. Aluminium corrodes when it gets wet. A modern jet airframe contains thousands of fatigue-sensitive joints, pressurized seals, and electrical systems that fail faster in humidity. Park a Boeing 747 in Seattle for 2 years, and you are essentially watching a slow-motion chemical reaction. Park the same plane in Victorville, California, where the average humidity sits around 25%, and rain is measured in inches per year, and the corrosion clock almost stops. The desert also gives you something an airport cannot: space. The main storage facility at Southern California Logistics Airport in Victorville can hold over 500 commercial aircraft at once. The Mojave Air and Spaceport can take up to 1,000. Roswell in New Mexico holds another 800. Pinal Air Park in Arizona holds around 300. Across the American Southwest, you have parking capacity for several thousand aircraft, sitting on naturally hard, load-bearing soil that does not need paving. At a regular airport, a parked Airbus A380 would slowly sink into the tarmac. But in Mojave, the ground holds it for decades. During the COVID pandemic, this network ran near full capacity. Cirium tracked over 2,000 commercial aircraft sitting in American desert storage at the peak. Qantas flew its entire Airbus A380 fleet to Victorville. Lufthansa parked 747s. British Airways, Air New Zealand, and Singapore Airlines all sent wide bodies into the dust. The total fleet value sitting still by mid-2020 was well over $100 billion. Now here is where the engineering quietly becomes economics. Storing an aircraft is not free, and it is not simple. Before a jet can sit in the desert, it goes through a process the industry calls preservation. Fuel is drained from the wing tanks to prevent it from breaking down and clogging the fuel lines. Engine inlets and exhausts are sealed with reflective covers to keep out birds, sand, and ultraviolet light. Windows are covered. Tires are rotated periodically to prevent flat spotting. The landing gear is greased and exercised. The livery is sometimes painted over, partly for legal reasons, partly because no airline wants its logo associated with a plane sitting in storage. And every 3 to 6 months, technicians walk every aircraft, run the engines, check the seals, and look for rattlesnakes in the wheel wells. Yes, really. The cost depends on the contract, but it is small relative to what an airline would lose by scrapping the aircraft outright. A wide body might cost a few $1,000s a month to store properly. An aircraft worth $200 million depreciates faster sitting on a runway in Frankfurt than it does sitting in Mojave. But here's the part that matters. The longer a plane sits, the more expensive it becomes to wake it up. If you reactivate within 30 days, it is roughly the equivalent of a routine maintenance check. Within 60 to 90 days, the work starts to resemble a major C-check. Beyond that, you are looking at heavy maintenance, replacement of perished seals, hydraulic system flushes, electrical recertification. According to aviation industry data, bringing a narrow body back from long-term storage takes roughly 40 worker hours. A wide body takes around 100 worker hours. And every month parked makes that number grow. Will demand return before reactivation costs exceed the aircraft's value? For most of the COVID fleet, the answer was yes. Aircraft came back. But for some, the answer was no. And what happened to those planes is the part of the story almost nobody talks about. This is where it gets financially insane. In early 2026, a 6-year-old Airbus A321neo, an aircraft that cost over $100 million when it was new, was sold to be torn apart for parts. Not because it was damaged, not because it was old, but because somewhere in a spreadsheet, somebody worked out that 2 of its engines, sold separately, were worth more than the entire airplane was worth in one piece. The math goes like this. A modern Pratt & Whitney geared turbofan engine, the kind that powers the A321neo, currently sells for around $22 million. 2 engines on the airframe equals $44 million in engines alone. Add landing gear, avionics, the auxiliary power unit, the high-pressure turbine parts, and the total part-out value can exceed $55 million. Meanwhile, the whole aircraft on the second-hand market, in a world where buyers are nervous about engine reliability issues, was valued at less. So the engines came off, and the fuselage went to the scrap line. But it gets stranger. A 6-year-old A321neo can be leased to another airline for about $350,000 a month. A single one of its engines leased separately brings in around $200,000 a month. 2 engines leased separately earn more than the entire aircraft. The plane, in other words, is now worth more disassembled and rented out as parts than it is as a flying vehicle. Industry analysts have started calling this the cannibalization economy. Visual Approach Analytics has tracked teardowns of aircraft that, by historical standards, should have had 2 more decades of service. Boeing 737 next-generation aircraft, even Boeing 757s. By the end of last year, at least 19 narrow-body A320 family aircraft had already been parted out. The desert, in other words, has stopped being a parking lot. It has become a vault. So the real story of those rows of jets baking in the Mojave sun is not that aviation is dying. It is that a commercial aircraft has stopped being a single asset. It is now a portfolio of detachable financial instruments that happen to share a fuselage. The wings are real estate. The engines are securities. The avionics are commodities. The whole machine is an investment fund with a tail number. Next time you watch a documentary that shows a desert lined with passenger jets, do not think of it as a graveyard. Think of it as a balance sheet with wings. If you want more stories like this one, where engineering and economics quietly collide inside the things we take for granted, subscribe. There is a lot more to come.